Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. We're so glad that you are joining us. If you don't know where you are and you forgot, this is rePLAY Enterprise Connect 2025. I'm Steph Beckett,
And I am Tim Albright.
and we attended this show. This is kind of our second year attending Enterprise Connect, kind of as two publications, but with like one partnered purpose. And we got some questions about this on the show floor. So I do feel like now is a good time to like remind everybody of our partnership and what the heck that is. Just because we get so many questions about it anytime people see us like on the show floor together, because I think they're so used to seeing us as competitors. So Tim and I partnered our two publications. And I say Tim and I, but like our two companies like partnered with a common goal of growing the industry by helping to build, or not really build, but like build a community for end users through our two reaches combined.
Well,
Does that
yeah,
make
yeah, and also on that is to invite those that are in the industry that are responsible for a lot of these spaces who may not consider themselves a part of the UC or a part of the AV industry.
Yes, exactly. Like a lot of the people who are end users in our industry don't even know that they're here or
Yeah.
that this is here for them. So yes, we've partnered to for a common goal. We are keeping that in mind in a lot of our coverage, and an event that is really natural for that coverage is Enterprise Connect. And why is that, Tim?
Well, Enterprise Connect is one of those shows that allows both the end users as well as the integrators of the dealer channel to have really long, meaningful conversations with the manufacturers and with the platforms that make UC possible, whether that is Teams and Zoom, or it is the microphone manufacturers, the camera manufacturers.
Exactly. This show, what did you think about it this year?
So it one of the things that and Steph and I stepped on the show floor kind of together on Monday. That the physical show was smaller, and I don't mean
Mhm.
that to be rude from a show footprint standpoint, but the booths were even smaller.
Yeah.
Steph and I mentioned this. She mentioned this. We were together last year, and like Zoom, I'll pick on Zoom for a second. Zoom had a ginormous booth. It had all kinds of stuff, and this year, nearly without exception, every manufacturer, every platform had a much smaller but a much more intimate booth. And in
Mhm.
talking with a handful of end users and with some consultants and channel partners, they were like, "Well, this actually makes more sense because we were able to spend more time with the key people that we're used to talking to get a roadmap, to get exactly what's coming down the pipeline, so we can design for that and we can plan for that."
Yeah. And next year is going to look a lot different. So, next year is the show, it's still in March, right?
I believe so. I will check that while you talk.
Okay. The next year, I believe it's still in March around the same time, but it's going to be in Las Vegas. It's going to be at Caesars. So, I don't know how that will change the show as well. Um, I don't know. It's either going to make it a lot bigger or it's going to throw people off and maybe like people won't. I don't know. There's no way of telling. I think that people just grew so used to going to the Gaylord in Orlando for this show because it's been there for so many years. But change is not always a bad thing. I think that it could potentially be positive, but I think that this is going to, if anything, create an opportunity for more of those contact center as a service telecom companies to really come in. And it became very clear that they were taking over the show. Like that was the majority of what was on the show floor.
Yeah, it is in March 10th through the 12th.
Okay.
As Steph said, it's in Caesars. The other thing about shows in general in the U.S., there is a phenomenon in the U.S. Because of the size of the states, physical geographic size. There
Yeah.
are folks that are on the East Coast that simply don't like going to the West Coast. There are people on the West Coast simply don't like going to shows on
True.
on the East Coast. And as somebody who doesn't live on either coast, I kind of get that. The nice thing about living in the middle of the country is I can get to any place in the country in about 2.5, 3 hours with a
It's
flight,
true.
right? Steph, you're on the East Coast. It's going to
Yeah.
take you darn near the entire day
Right.
to get to Vegas, right?
Right.
So they're also opening themselves up to a different attendee clientele.
That's true. That's very true. Because I always have to be picky and choosy about which shows in Vegas I go to,
Yeah,
because like I just can't get to every single one of them. It's impossible. So, unfortunately, not everybody wants to come to the East Coast and have a show. So it makes it a little bit harder to get there. But people on the West Coast probably feel the same way. So
yeah,
before we continue on, let's talk a little bit about the platform. I'll give you guys a run through. So if you can see and hear me and Tim talking, that's good. That's like the whole point of the event. So congratulations, you figured that out. There's a little gear at the bottom. So if you want to change what resolution we're coming at you at, you can do that. And then if you look to the right, that is going to be the Q&A. So if you have questions for me or Tim, anything you want us to answer, we're also in the chat, so we'll be able to respond to you. But you can ask that there. Right below, you will see all of our poll questions. Those let us know that you are staying engaged with the content. We appreciate it when you answer those. And then right below that is networking. That is a perfect place for you to direct message other people watching the event. You can also direct message me or other people on the rAVe team. We are here to help you, but you can also just message everyone in the all chat. And that's, basically the closest experience that we can give you to being on the show floor and talking to a bunch of people.
yeah.
So if you keep scrolling, you can click on me or Tim, and it takes you to our LinkedIn if you would like to connect with either of us. So, all right, now that all of the housekeeping is out of the way, Tim was very kindly my video shooter when we walked the show floor, and I kind of just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a feel for what was there, and you get that in the couple of booths that I walked through in this clip that we pulled. So check this out. We're pulling from a Zoom room over here, but a few of these people are also joining remotely. So I had not seen Zoom used so much in a broadcast setting, and I think this is very interesting that they brought this to Enterprise Connect, and I think this is personally what I found the most interesting here at the Zoom booth. So let's continue on. We're going to kind of walk through, look at a few of the show floor things. Some of these companies I am not incredibly familiar with. Some of these are a little more telecommunications than we, mostly cover in rAVe, but I found a lot of interesting companies here. So we're going to go over here to Shore's booth, because Shore has brought all of its new lineup of products. Shore came out with 5 new things right before ISE, and they brought all of them here to Enterprise Connect. So, of course, some of those things are sitting out here. One of those is the new Microflex line of loudspeakers, and then we have our amplifier here as well. So yeah, this line is pretty new. It's kind of Shore getting into kind of a new market. Shore is audio, of course, but this pendant is brand new, and of course they have on-wall, in-wall options too. But I think it's kind of like Shore wanting to be your answer to every step of meeting room audio, from the mic to the speaker. So let's come around here and we can talk about the wireless Next. So Shore came out with the wireless Next 2. I think it was last year, but it feels like both yesterday and a long time ago. And this is kind of so this is the station. So say this is in a classroom, right, and you're a teacher. So this can be the teacher's microphone. Your teacher has a handheld mic, but say another teacher prefers the belt pack mic. So you can assign these to the teacher so that you're not sharing germs, and the teacher can take this one and put it into another dock as well. But the great thing about the wireless Next 4 is now there is a gooseneck option. So that's what these are over here. And then of course we have the boundaries as well as the option. So these are really, really cool, really fantastic, perfect for the classroom, perfect for the meeting room, really perfect for anywhere where you need to have a person giving a presentation. So shout out to Shore, they did a good job. Another thing I want to talk about while we're here, Shocks is really popping off in the meeting department, right? So a bunch of us have OpenComm 2 headsets, but these are brand new. These are specifically for me. She's putting them on his head now. They sit on a spot in your head where it doesn't hurt you. They sit right here on your cheekbone. so it doesn't give you fatigue after joining a lot of meetings, because I have not found a headset that doesn't hurt my head after a long time. I have a big head, I have a lot of knowledge, but this actually doesn't hurt you because it rests here instead of putting the pressure on the top of your head, which is really nice. I forgot that I included the part in that video where I said that normal headphones hurt my head because I have a big head because I have a lot of knowledge.
Well, you do have a lot of knowledge.
Thank you.
I don't know that your head's particularly big, but
Nor just normal headphones hurt, but you got a pair
I
of
did.
these new open meets. So yeah, check them out. And then we have this video that you took as well. So in case you kind of missed, I was like just throwing out facts about them, but this is an open ear Bluetooth headset. And this is one that they designed specifically for professional communication. So what I have is the Open Com 2, the one that they came out with. Oh yes, you have that one too. Perfect. That they came out with, I want to say 2020 or maybe
I think so.
2021. And that was like early COVID when they realized runners who really liked using their like headphones needed something to sit at home with. And so that was kind of their first iteration of that type of product. But this new one combines bone conduction with air conduction. So this kind of delivers an immersive audio experience. And it also is an open ear. So it keeps your ear, like hearing open to the environment. And they're very light. They apparently weigh only 78 grams.
I can
So
attest to that. Yes. There. So the other thing about these is Steph mentioned that she has the open twos. These are over the head as opposed to behind behind the ears, and there's no hooks, right? So that's the first experience with these. But the audio is actually much better. I think. Now I am not an acoustician, nor do I design headphones.
right.
I don't know what's the fact that the actual connectors to your bone for the bone conduction is bigger or what, but the audio is much better on these than the open twos. My experience.
Nice.
But yeah,
Well,
much
those
more
are
comfortable.
those are probably one of my favorite products I saw, and like the most like user friendly, user focused.
Absolutely.
So okay, next up, let's talk about the Jabra Panacast 40. Did you get to see that one?
I did, and I have been a big fan of the Panacast in general for years, even before Jabra purchased them. I use a Panacast 20 9 times out of 10, especially if you're on a video call with me, either in the office or at home. Most likely, it's a Panacast 20. So the 40 is a really nice addition.
Very cool. So we have a short clip of a video about this, and so we're going to show that to you real quick, and we'll be right back.
We're here to talk about the Panacast 40 VBS, newly announced product at ISE earlier this year, coming to the market in mid-2025. Same great Panacast experience that you'd expect from our Panacast 50 VBS, but with 2 cameras up front achieving that 180-degree field of view, 6 onboard beamforming mics with a single speaker. It has a removable cover with the typical premium fabric, or this could be an easy clean cover as well. Clips right back into place with the magnets. Has a whole different newly formulated mounting system on the back with an integrated hinge and attached wall mount.
Okay, Tim, I think I showed you this next product that we're going to show the people. This is the
You did.
ViewSonic LDS 138 151. This is a foldable 138-inch DV LED display. DV LED, it is just really not what it used to be at all, because this is glue on board, and this looks amazing. So like I said, this is foldable. It's designed for instant use, easy transport, really convenient operation. And so because it folds in, it can like fit into a standard elevator and through standard doorways. So that makes it really easy for your live event, rental stage, and corporate event. And it also like cuts shipping costs and improves like delivery efficiency. So this product is really just I love it so much. So it's going to be for your perfect like reception, boardroom, gallery, auditorium, anywhere where it's like a large venue and you want something to look great, but you also need to get it in and get it out very easily. Like it's lovely.
Yeah, and I think I was talking to you about when you were in school and your teacher brought in the TV,
Yeah.
you knew it was going to be a good day. You bring in this thing that you're unfolding it, and then it's going to be a good
You
meeting.
know it's going to be a good day. Exactly.
Yeah. Our next up is the Sennheiser, easy for me to say, TCCM. This is their Team Connect ceiling microphone. This is um, it's a ceiling micro array. It is in their TCC line, but this is the one that is the circle, right? And there's two things about this. First of all, Alicia Henley, which you interviewed, Alicia. She
Mhm.
was as excited about the product as she was about the mounting kit, and
Yep.
there's a reason for that.
Yep.
If you work in an office, drop ceilings, right? We all live with drop ceilings, and those are typically a square. Well, the TCCM is a circle. So what did Sennheiser do? They came up with a handy dandy mounting plate that's a square that you can mount the circle to. So it's really cool. It's all the technology that you come to enjoy from Sennheiser and their ceiling microarrays in a smaller footprint. But if you need the ease of installation with keeping everything in that square, Sennheiser has you.
Exactly. So check this out.
As you can see here behind me, this is one of our flagship products right here, our ceiling microphone. Even though it is the Team Connect medium, it does really big things. And I think the most important thing about this newest product right now is that some people were thrown off a little bit by the form factor. Just because it's smaller doesn't mean it's not as powerful. Also, what's new to the market that some of you all might have saw at ISC, you can see here at Enterprise Connect. Yes, we have a faceplate, people. This is a beautiful faceplate that you can now pop a TCCM into, locking mechanisms, boom, drop it in your ceiling tile. So no worry about cutting holes or anything like that anymore. Just go ahead, grab you a TCCM. This comes in the kit, it is not separate. So purchase that as one unit and maximize the value of our TCCM.
Okay. Alicia is so great at that, by the way. She's so personable. So our next one that I want to show you guys, this is from Biamp. You guys know and love Biamp, and you guys know that Biamp and Evoco are now one company. This is the Clio Desk Manager. So he's going to kind of show you these little bitty things and you can clip it to the edge of a desk. You can also set it on top of a desk. What's a word for that? A device.
A device.
Thing.
A
It's
thing device.
a thing. It's a smart desk booking device, and it's supposed to streamline workspace management in a lot of those hot desking, flexible seating environments. So what I love about it are the visual indicators. So there's desk availability, and there's green for available, yellow for awaiting check-in, red for occupied, and blue for like I'm locked in. I'm in focus mode right now. Don't bother me. And I like that because it allows like people who are walking in looking for a space, it allows them to easily like identify those workspaces. So yeah.
Yeah, and Voco also is Biamp rather has really gotten into the the management of those spaces the last couple of years. So that's been really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so Steph and I learned a term at Enterprise Connect. Steph may have already knew it.
I didn't.
Agentic AI.
Yeah.
Now, really quickly before we get into Cisco, agentic AI involves decision making by the AI. It also allows the AI to quote unquote constantly learn without supervision. I'm not entirely sure about that phrase, how I feel about it yet, as
Right.
somebody who grew up watching Terminator, but is really cool.
It is.
So the first thing that they talked about, or Cisco demoed, was customer service, right? And Steph mentioned this already. The Enterprise Connect, there's a lot of call center solutions. And one of the things that Cisco was showing was, guess what? You don't even need a call center. You can have an
Yeah.
interface where somebody can log into your website and go, look, I need to change my flight. I did something or whatever. And the AI can help your customers walk through those steps without ever getting anybody in a chat or on the phone. And that is because the agentic AI can make decisions based on previous interactions, based on the data set and the knowledge base, but also based on how the person, what the person is trying to do. So it's really, really cool. I am a big fan of AI in general, and being able to offload some of these tasks that have taken other people um, away from giving customer service in another area, and
Mhm.
allowing the AI to take care of pretty simple tasks like changing a flight.
Right. Yeah. We also saw it in a healthcare kind of setting.
Yep.
So this is going to be kind of demonstrating how that like Cisco WebEx AI agent can be used in this kind of, oh, what does my insurance cover type settings? And this is only like part of the demo. The full one is on rAVe, but check this out.
AI agent is a virtual agent powered by LLM and generative AI that is able to answer questions related to specific topics and also integrate with databases. So this is a healthcare fictitious site that it is simulating interaction with the customer. So in this case, I can, for example, get a quote and be added to the database. This is simulating the buying process. So for example, I can enter my name and I can select an health plan. So this is simulating a buying process. So let's say that I am buying this health plan. I'm given a customer ID, in this case it's 1234, and now I can start interacting with the AI agent. There are multiple ways to do that. The first is using a bubble here. So I click here. Okay, so this is a privacy message. Of course, I click yes. And now ask me for the customer ID. So the customer ID that I've been given when I became customer. So in my case, it's 1234. So it uses the customer ID in order to fetch information from the database. Now it recognizes me. Luca Pellegrini, you have the healthcare plan. I can assist you today. For example, I can ask a question if dental care is included.
Okay, we're kind of spending a lot of time on Cisco WebEx and
It was
Cisco
really
right
cool
now.
though.
Yeah, which I'm surprised because I am historically like not a fan of WebEx. And I would like to formally apologize to the good people at Cisco. It was nothing ever personal. I just could not figure out how to like mute myself or do anything when I was on a WebEx call like 5 years ago. And so I decided to become a hater.
That's fair.
But they've picked up their slack. Like they have been like, you know what? We need to get it together. And they have. And, like, this is really cool. And arguably the coolest demo at the whole show was at their booth. And that is what we're about to show you. So look at these
Yep.
pictures, okay? Because at first this just looks like a regular coffee station, which is like all people do this at shows where they just like give you something to get you in their booth. But think again, because they're using their agentic AI to take your order. You have to scan the QR code and then it texts you and it comes from WebEx and it's like, hi, yeah, you can see this text right now where it's like, hey, do you want a coffee? Here's our menu. What do you want? And I was like, yeah, I would like a vanilla latte with almond milk. And then it asked me some clarifying questions about that. And I was like, yeah, you want vanilla? And I was like, yeah, vanilla, and like a few other things. And then it asked me my name. And then they like went ahead and made it. And it sent it like via tablet to the barista that they had at their booth. And then the next thing you know, you get a text when your coffee was ready from the
Yeah.
same person. So it was crazy. It was so cool.
It was very cool, and it was interesting. Some of the, I'm going to call it the limitations or the guardrails they put it on, because Steph is right. It
Mhm.
said, "Hey, what kind do you want?" And they had a finite list of coffees, right? And it wasn't. I'm not saying that that was small. It was a big list of coffees, but it was,
Mhm.
you could choose from these,
Mhm.
and then you could do add-ons. And because I like having extra shots of espresso, I asked for an extra shot of espresso, and it said, "We're sorry, we can't do that."
No. Yeah, that's not an option. We can't
That's not an
customize
option.
like that.
Nope.
So that's fair because, like, who knows what a lot of people start getting crazy with coffee
Oh
orders.
yeah.
Like, you've seen people go to Starbucks and they're like, I want half a shot of this, but half a shot of that. All no whip, but add this with cinnamon. And like, I think that they were just trying to keep people from doing like that.
The horrible
But
Starbucks were. Yeah.
but that's fair.
Yeah.
But I think that was the coolest thing a company can do is like use something to get people into your booth, but do it with your stuff,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just giving people food or alcohol or whatever. Like
As
use it with the things that you make.
as we gear up for InfoComm, some folks might want to pay attention to that.
Mhm.
Just
I was totally impressed by them.
yeah.
Totally impressed. I thought that was awesome. So, we got a few more products for you here. This is Aver's 535N. This just came out like a month ago,
Yeah.
maybe. And this is a pro level tracking camera, perfect for your lecture capture, corporate training, hybrid presentation. It's 20 times optical zoom, full HD video, 60 frames per second, advanced AI auto tracking that follows presenters very naturally. So it also has NDI support built right in, and it integrates seamlessly into AV over IP environments.
Yeah, and one of the things about it being in the AI auto tracking is a lot of companies are putting the AI into their cameras, their devices, their microphones, and so they're offloading the processing of AI to the edge, right? So Aver has done this really well, where the smarts are in the camera, not necessarily
Hmm.
in the switching or in the video
Yeah,
processing. They're doing it right there, so it's really smart.
exactly. Do you want to talk about Shore's
I will
booth?
talk about
Because
Shure all day.
they had a really good booth too at this show. They always do. I mean, like who's surprised? Not me.
Well,
But
and they did, and Seth is right. I mean, Shure has been at this show for a long time,
mhm,
and you look at that and go, well, what is a traditional AV manufacturer doing? Well, one of the things that Shure has said, honestly, for the last couple of years is to have good meetings, you have to have good audio, right? You have to
mhm,
have great audio, and so that's why Shure is there. And one of the things they were showing was their MXW line, the
mhm.
expansion of that line into the Next 4 and Next 8. A year ago, they released Next 2. If you want, you can go back in the Wayback Machine and see Steph and I a year ago talking about the Next 2.
Yeah.
This year, it was the Next 4 and Next 8. Not to be silly, but
Mhm.
it's the expansion. So the Next 2 is two
Yeah.
channels. Next 4 and Next 8, well, that's 4 and 8 channels,
Mhm.
respectively. In addition to the boundary mic and the handheld or the body pack, you also have goosenecks in the 4 and 8. And
Mhm.
you also have the ability to daisy chain those on the network side. So if you have 2 or 3 of those base stations, you only need one network drop, because you can take one network drop into one of the Next 4s, let's say, and then connect it via the network side, so you can have vision of all of your MXW base stations on the network.
Yeah. And it was cool.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that they expanded it because I think that they knew that they were really doing something with the 2 version. Like everyone was obsessed with it. It's so great for education. That I think it was just natural for them to come out with like a more expanded version of that. Next up, Tim and I did stop by HP Poly,
Yep.
and the product that they were heavily focusing on at the show was the V12 video bar. So we are going to show you a little bit about that.
This is our new V12 camera. It's camera, microphone, speakers. This is the replacement for one of our most widely bought products, the Studio USB. One of the cool things about this, 20 megapixel camera, 120 field of view. It's also a sub $1,000 video bar. We have different ways to power this product, whether it be over USB-C or over PoE. You can manage these on your network. So whether you're looking for BYOD rooms or you want to connect this to one of your PC-based solutions for Microsoft Teams Room or Zoom Room, we have you covered.
So, like you said, video bar equipped with 20 megapixel 4K Ultra HD, 120 degree field of view. So it's just going to be another one of those video bars. It's going to be really good for, what would you say, Tim? Like a medium
Yep.
size room? Yeah.
Medium-sized room, not quite a huddle space or a small meeting room, but it's certainly not obviously a large conference room. But
Hmm.
this hits that quite frankly the vast majority of most meeting spaces, where you're looking at between 4 and 8 people around a table, or 4 or 8 people in the room. That thing can capture everybody in the space.
Yeah. And it also has noise block AI and acoustic fence technology to minimize like the background noise that happens during a lot of meetings. So, thought that was interesting as well. Tim and I, of course, we stopped by Zoom's booth. We tried to stop by Microsoft's, but Microsoft was like not vibing
They were
with
not having it.
with doing any videos at that show. Guess I'll just have to go back to Microsoft Ignite this year because there was like a lot of chain of command of permissions when it came to getting product videos at the show for it.
And,
But
and we didn't have those permissions.
we didn't have permission for that. So, but Zoom, they were all very media trained. So we got a lot of videos at Zoom. So Tim, talk about this production setup because this was the thing that you liked the best.
Well, and this marries a couple different areas, both in my in my brain, but also in AV right now. Is you've got this pretty significant push into broadcast, right? Where
Mhm.
you've got companies and corporations rolling out broadcast suites. You've got education facilities rolling out broadcast suites, and so this marries that side with the ability to bring that broadcast level quality into a meeting room. And so our buddy Frank Paticala was showing this off. This is Frank's area of expertise. You're bringing in multiple cameras. You did have NDI cameras in this as well. You've got a production switcher in the middle, and the ability to up your conference game, up your conference experience, both for those people in the space, but also for those people coming in remotely. And so you're able to really have a full broadcast production in your conference experience. And I think this is really, really smart of Zoom to really going to lean in on this side of the conferencing space.
Yeah, speaking of Frank, we got a really great selfie with him. That was my first time meeting Frank in person, which I like somehow can't believe. But yeah, he really seems like he's thriving. Like this is kind of like the perfect role for him. So it was really great that he got to walk us through what this was and what it does.
Yeah. Frank's good people in general, and he's Frank's really one of those folks that I lean on if I have questions about the IT and AV space and where they
Mhm.
meet, because Frank is a trained IT person. That's his background,
Yeah.
right? And then he's he obviously come over to the AV side, and so he's really able to kind of talk to both sides of that equation when it comes to the conferencing and the AV and the IT space.
Yeah. So next up, Google. I got to stop by Google. Didn't get a ton of stuff there. They were also like a lot was happening. And I was only at this show for 2 days. So it's always like a ton of like coordination for me to get as many videos as I can. But the one that I did get was they kind of showed me a demo of conversational insights with AI powered analytics software. Because yes, Google is doing this too. Everybody's doing it. So even Google is leaning on AI for its like contact center. Look, this can replace and helps pull analytics, et cetera, et cetera. So check out this clip of this video.
And you want to kind of understand like what's going on in your contact center. So in this quality AI, you can see in the overview page about, your kind of high level statistics of like what's going on. Here's like volume, average quality score, average CSAT, average handle time, who are your top performing agents are, as well as like what are the top 5 topics. None of this obviously is new probably if you are in this space. But what I want to emphasize on is this average quality score. How do you get to this average quality score? I'm going to show you here in this conversation tab. So again, as a supervisor that you will come in here and see, oh, interesting, I think all the quality scores should be at least 50. But if you look at Edward's conversation that happened yesterday at 11, this is like around 49%. And then you will click onto this conversation to understand more about the conversation. So this is the detailed conversation view where you can see the conversation spotlight. If this is an audio, the voice conversation, you will obviously have a recording here attached to it. You'll be able to listen to it, and you can see this kind of transcription that's going on here.
And aside from the product offerings, Tim and I sat in on 2 of the keynotes at Enterprise Connect. The first one was Microsoft's keynote. Um, what did you learn in that keynote? That was kind of where we both were like, oh, agentic AI.
Yeah.
But is there anything that really stood out to you other than that about Microsoft's keynote?
The number one thing I took away from Microsoft's keynote was real-time translation. That was the slickest thing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Ilya from the Microsoft Teams team, he had somebody actually on from Cisco, and I think the joke was that he had a Swede on from Cisco talking
Oh
German,
yeah.
and this gentleman spoke German, and
Mhm.
so Ilya and him were having a conversation. The gentleman switched to German, and in real time, the team's environment kind of lowered his German speaking voice, and out of these speakers came, roughly in his voice, the English translation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was it was both awesome and a little disconcerting at the same time.
Right.
And the fact that, you know, yes, I think that there's still value in learning other languages because you're not always going to have this
Of
tool with you.
course.
But dude, that's really that is something that is pretty amazing from an AI standpoint, and quite frankly, from a communication standpoint.
Yeah. No, I think that that's going to be really crazy when it comes to breaking down language barriers.
Yep.
I mean, like, think about what this can do for journalism. Like, if a journalist needs to do an interview with a professor or something in another country, they're not going to need a translator.
Yeah.
That that's I think that's going to be really great for a lot of different industries. But the other keynote I want to talk about was Mike Massimino's the astronaut, which was crazy that he was kind of giving the keynote at this event because this man is an astronaut. But he had like kind of a really, really great message of never giving up. And,
Yep.
if something doesn't work like 5 times, try it another way. Because we learned that he did not make it into NASA his like first or second try.
Yeah.
Like there kept being roadblocks. And so he's a renowned astronaut now. Like he teaches at Columbia University in New York City. So he had a lot of great things to say, and it was really cool. And I was telling Tim about this, but the one other time I had seen him was with my dad, like walking the streets of New York City. And my dad was coming to visit me when I lived there. And he had always been like, oh, I wonder if we're going to see any famous people. I was like, well, Dad, New York's really big. Like, we might not see. And my dad, as we're walking, turns around and goes, that was Mike Massimino, the astronaut. And I was like, what? And he was like, I love his work on Big Bang Theory. And I was like, the astronaut's in Big Bang Theory, but he talked about it in his
He
keynote.
is.
So
Showed a clip of it.
I learned that my dad wasn't lying.
That's always a good thing to learn your
Yeah,
dad's not
he
lying.
didn't lie. But anyway, okay, let's close it out with one more video demo. And this was my favorite at Zoom's booth. This was their Zoom Rooms demo, kind of utilizing just about multiple cameras, like kind of showing how its intelligent director, it's gotten some updates because it initially was one of those things that could pick up who was in a room, puts them all on equal playing field. So even if you're joining and people are joining from afar, everyone's tile is going to be the same size so that it's not people joining from afar and they're having to glance down this one camera shot of this big boardroom table. So it's great, but they've done some updates since then, and this walks you through what those are.
This is a Zoom room that has 3 cameras at the front. Those are in a function called Intelligent Director. They have taken the images that they're seeing and putting the best image of the people in the room up on the screen and out to our remote participants. Simultaneously, you see my name is associated with me in my gallery image because it's comparing that picture of me live with a picture of me that I uploaded a few weeks ago. So it's identifying me by visuals, but as you can also see, that box is highlighted in green. What does that mean? It means I'm talking right this second. So right above Stephanie's head, there's a 902, a Shure 902. It's the microphone and the camera. Look right up there. There you go. It's the microphone and the speakers for this particular room. So that's how you're hearing me. Even though the show floor is abuzz right this second, it's still intelligent enough to be able to do that. Now, one of the things I love about this process is that I've switched on transcripts for my local people to be able to see so that the attribution of who said what in the room is recorded into that transcript and the recording. But that's not quite enough because AI also wants us to be able to translate into multiple languages. So in 40 plus languages, as I'm speaking English to you right now, you see it translated into Spanish. Each person around this table could choose the language of their choice, and they could speak that language, have it translated into English, and vice versa, all in the same room. Now, one last thing. Come over here real quick, Steph. This board is in a mode called Companion Zoom Room mode. When I fired off this call, this camera joined directly in. That means we have 1 camera, 2 cameras, 3 camera, 4 camera. and we have a presenter track camera back there coming in via NDI. So whether it's Dante for audio, NDI for video, or USB for either, or maybe a cloud connection, Zoom Rooms get you what you need to be able to see.
He was very like animated, which I loved.
Very.
And he called me Stephanie once, which I would like. I was like, oh, whenever someone calls me by my full name, I'm always like
you're in trouble?
Yeah, it like throws me off. I'm always like,
I got you.
Like where some people are thrown off by people shortening their name, I'm thrown off by people lengthening my name.
I would, as somebody whose legal name is Timothy, I would agree with you. Yes.
Yes. I think I've called you Timothy before when I was trying to get your attention.
And it worked, actually.
It did work.
And it worked.
And it worked. So anyway, I think we're ending this on a good note. I think this show, it's going to be an interesting show next year. I don't totally know what changing the location is going to bring, but it will for sure be interesting.
It will be, and again, it'll give the show organizers the chance to invite and get a different group that hasn't been to Enterprise Connect for a minute, again because of the distances between East Coast and West Coast. But not just the location in Vegas, but the location to Caesars, which is a brand new space. And it'll give a folks, but whether that's channel partners or the end users who may be interested in going, a new chance and a new reason to go.
Yeah, 100% agree. Well, I think that what we've given the people a good like glimpse into what it was in terms of what our audiences care about. I didn't go to every contact center as a service booth just because that hasn't fully totally bled into our industries as of yet. But you never know. Maybe next year that's going to be what everyone's talking about. Like you just never know. But for this year, I kind of kept it to the more AV heavy companies, and I think you kind of did too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was everything. I mean, we did a lot of the same ones. There's a little bit of crossover, both from the audio side as well as a little bit of the video side. But this show really is, as much as it is contact center, there's also the conferencing aspect to it, which is where you and I really live.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you have enjoyed. If you want more videos, more coverage, more information, you can of course go to ravepubs.com, and on Tim's side,
you can go to avnation.tv.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. We appreciate you. And we will see you next time. Bye. Thanks.